So before you really start coloring, make sure that you look at the last part of the rubric, which is the coloring. What am I really looking for? The project is colored well and clearly defined. Different planes are colored differently, clear, neat blending. So let's think about what that is. The project is colored well and clearly defined. That's an easy one. That means I can see what's going on in your project. I can tell what's going on. I can tell that you took your time coloring it. Different planes are colored differently, meaning your foreground, I can clearly tell that your foreground has a little bit different lighting and that I can define it based on the color. All right? I don't want to see everything colored the exact same way and then you just come up to me and say, well, that's my foreground right there. Well, I can't tell that's the foreground. Your blending is nice. Basically, you're using your finger to press down and color in and make sure that your color looks nice in different sections. Let's just look at a few of the projects that I've gotten done and see how well they did. Let's look here. All right. Is the project colored well and clearly defined? Yeah, absolutely. I can see every piece of this. I can see there's dark, there's gray, there's light in there. I can see that there are this green right here, this plane is colored differently in this one. And I can clearly see what's going on over here. Everything is clearly defined. I know where everything is. In some instances, I can tell right here that they drew this jalapeno pepper guy, colored over him, and then redrew him over the top of it. That's something you can do. That's allowed. But remember, I would make sure you use your reds and everything, and black is the last color you use. Don't use black until the very end. If it smears, it makes a huge mess. Use black last. I cannot stress that enough. Also, I'm looking for nice blending. They've got nice transitions from the dark blue here to the light blue here. I love the way that looks. Let's look at this one. I love this one. I love that I can clearly see the fading from the yellow to the orange to the purple to the blue all the way back. They used the green here. They used light green, then they added dark green, and then they just added some black to it. They've got different colors in here. They used a light brown, and they've got a little bit of yellow and a little bit of orange in there. I love that I can see each one of these colors. This is a beautiful project. This is my example. You can see, even in the hills, I've got orange, I've got purple, I've got blue, and I'm making sure that I can see the differences between the two of them here. I've got darker green up in front, and I've got lighter green as I go further away. The river right here, I've got light blues, I've even got a little bit of the reflection of the orange, and I made sure I took the dark blue in here. The trees are big, in the sense that I laid down a light green. You can see the light green in there. Then I added a darker green, and I made sure that I colored in the texture that I wanted it. Then I added some orange, some yellow on the edge, and then the last color I used was black. Don't use black until the very end. It'll smear everywhere. So that's just a few little hints on it. Make sure that you look at the rubric. It's attached to, it's in your documents that you can go ahead and take a look at them. And best of luck to you. If you have any questions, come on up and ask me. Now you're at your final stage. With the final stage, you're going to be coloring your project. Now, obviously, I have one that's already done. If you want to see the example or you want to see one of the student examples, just let me know and I can show you some of them. But I'm going to show you a little bit and just a few little tidbits of information while you're coloring. Here's the biggest thing about color. One, have hard edges. Like, they have difference in colors with the background. For instance, I've got a brown here, goes to green. I made sure that I came in here with a dark brown, and I made sure I had a nice edge here. Everywhere I've got it, you can see that I've got nice edges in places. The river here, I came in and made sure I used a dark blue here to make sure I got the nice edges. That's the first thing. Second thing, look at reference. Find some photos. If you're drawing a sunset, what does the sky look like for a sunset? Mine went yellow, orange, purple, blue, black. What does yours look like? What do clouds look like when you're coloring them? What do trees look like when you're coloring them? Actually look at an image. You've got reference in front of you. It's called the internet. go and find something on the internet, look up how to actually color it. The other thing that I want you to notice before I start this is that colors fade the further away they get. For example, a color that's close up would be darker than one that gets further away. I've got other examples of this. Here are two just quick color sketches that I did with just one color. If you look right here, I used green. The foreground would be dark green. Then you add a little bit of white because the further away it gets lighter, and then your background will be the lightest. I'm not saying to do it all one color, but just giving you an example that colors get lighter the further back you get. Here's another example. I used dark orange for the foreground, medium orange for further away, and light orange for the back. The same thing is going to go on here. So let's start coloring. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do when I start coloring is establish what colors are going to be in which planes. I want darker colors to be further away. Or I'm sorry, lighter colors to be further away. So I've got different shades of brown. I've got kind of this peach color. I've got a light brown. I've got an orange. I've got dark brown, and I got yellow, and I've got really dark brown. Any of these can work for different things. Personally, I'm saving the dark brown for edging. I'm going to save that when I go along the edge of something so that it looks really nice and dark. I've got this brown right here I'll use for some shadow areas, but I'm probably going to use this dark brown for things that are very up close. The orange I'm going to use kind of as a mixing color. I'll lay down a little bit of orange and then smear over it so that it gives it a nicer orange tint to it. These three colors I'm going to use for the middle ground and the background, because I'm going to want to see what this looks like the further away I get. So, sit back. I'm going to fast forward this a little bit so you can see it in fast motion, but this is what I'm going to do. I just want you to pay attention as I color this. Not the entire thing, just a little bit. Okay, so just looking at this, you can see how I came in and started, look at right here. If I used mostly yellows and light browns down over here, and up here I used more orange and browns, like a little bit darker browns. Had I not done that, you wouldn't be able to see the difference between the two of them. I even made a special point to come in here and make sure that there was a little bit of a shadow here. Later on, of course, I'll come in, I'll add some shadows, I'll add some different colors to these, maybe even like adding some dark blues to the green for this. But again, I cannot stress to you enough, use reference. Look at these so that you can eventually get to the point where you're making something like this. Alright? Good luck to you. If you have any questions with anything, you have anything that gets held up on, just come on up and ask me. That's what I'm here for. But the next step is you are going to turn this in. I would suggest, again, going over the rubric and checking out what is on the rubric.